Power doesn't just destroy, it reveals who you really are. In Gen V Season 2, every supe isn't just fighting enemies, they're fighting the monster inside themselves. Some have leveled up beyond imagination, others have lost control completely. But when Godolkin University turns into a battleground of gods and ghosts, one question burns brighter than the rest: who truly stands at the top of this twisted food chain? Let's find out. In the halls of Godolkin University, power is everything. It's the currency, the crown, and the curse. Season 2 throws us straight into the chaos. No safety nets, no training wheels. The students we once saw struggling with control now wield their abilities like living weapons. The tone is darker, bloodier, and somehow more human. Everyone wants to be the strongest, but no one seems ready for the price that comes with it. At the start, we see the campus split in two: those who believe in using their powers to protect, and those who want to rule through fear. The story isn't about good and evil anymore. It's about survival. The weak hide behind walls, the bold step into the light, and the truly dangerous, they move in silence. Each supe now has something to prove, not just to Vought or the world, but to themselves. The experiments, the trauma, the fame, it's all coming back to haunt them. Season 2 doesn't just show us who's powerful, it shows us who's smart enough to use that power. Because in a world where everyone bleeds the same, the difference between a god and a corpse is timing. Every choice matters. Every glance could be the start of a new war. We start to see the line between friend and enemy blur. The alliances built on trust start to crack when ambition enters the room. And that's what makes this season different. It's not just about super strength or telekinesis. It's about who can outthink, outlast, and outplay. Some supes evolve mentally faster than their physical powers. They've seen what happens when power goes unchecked. They've seen Homelander's shadow hanging over them. Now they want to prove they can be something more, or something worse. As the season unfolds, the rankings begin to make sense. The weakest ones, though often underestimated, have something raw and unpredictable. Their powers may not shake the sky, but their willpower could turn the tide in a fight. Meanwhile, the mid-level supes, the ones who know their worth but haven't reached their peak, start to collide in chaotic ways. There's envy, admiration, and a quiet sense of dread. Because everyone knows, the higher you climb, the harder the fall. By the end of this first act, the battlefield is set. The rising stars are ready to burn bright or burn out. Each supe is stepping into the arena of reputation, and there's no turning back. The cameras are rolling, Vought's eyes are everywhere, and one wrong move could end everything. Gen V Season 2 isn't just a sequel, it's a survival test. And only the truly ruthless will make it to the top. Power has a funny way of revealing the truth. The ones who shout the loudest often have the least control, while those who stay quiet are usually the ones planning something dangerous. In Gen V Season 2, the lower ranks, the so-called weaker supes, might not have the flashiest powers, but every one of them carries a spark of chaos that could ignite the whole school. They're not the rulers of Godolkin, not yet, but they're the reason no one ever sleeps easy. At rank 10, we start with Polarity Jr., still living under the shadow of his father's fame. His power, magnetic manipulation, is as unpredictable as his emotions. One moment, he's lifting cars like they're feathers. The next, he's collapsing under the weight of his father's expectations. Season 2 finally peels back his layers. We see him question everything: his legacy, his morality, even his sanity. He's not the strongest supe, but he's the most human, and that's what makes him dangerous. Because when someone like that finally snaps, it's not about glory anymore, it's about release. Rank 9 belongs to Cate Dunlap, the telepath whose whispers could tear your mind apart. Her power is both intimate and horrifying. She doesn't need to fight you when she can make you fight yourself. Season 2 gives her more control, but also more guilt. Every time she uses her gift, she loses a little more of herself. She's haunted by the memories she's stolen, the thoughts she can't unhear. Cate may not have the raw strength of others, but she can end battles before they start. The real question is, will her heart let her? Rank 8, we have Emma Meyer, also known as Little Cricket. Her shrinking ability used to be a punchline. Now, it's a weapon of terror. Season 2 takes her from comic relief to silent assassin. She's learned to move unseen, strike with precision, and turn size into strategy. What once made her feel small now makes her untouchable. She's proof that power isn't always about size, it's about how much fear you can create when no one sees you coming. She's underestimated by everyone except those who faced her, and they never forget it. At rank 7, enters Sam Reardon, the broken mirror of a superhero. His strength is monstrous, his rage unchained. Season 2 pushes him further into moral chaos, blurring the line between hero and villain. Sam's power isn't new, but his mind is the battlefield now. He's unpredictable, torn between guilt and fury, loyalty and vengeance. Watching him is like watching a bomb learn how to walk. Every scene feels seconds away from disaster. He's the kind of Supe who doesn't need to win. He just needs to make sure no one else does. Then comes rank 6, Andre Anderson, the man made of metal and mistakes. Andre's magnetic powers have grown sharper, more refined, but his conscience weighs him down. Season 2 gives him a tragic brilliance. He's trying to be better. Even when the world around him rewards the worst instincts, his control has improved, but emotionally, he's still caught between guilt and duty. He's strong enough to lead, smart enough to know leadership comes with blood. That internal war between who he wants to be and what the world needs him to be keeps him from rising higher, but it also makes him the heart of this ranking. Each of these supes lives in the gray zone, not weak, not unstoppable, just dangerously in between. They're the ones who make mistakes, learn from them, and come back harder. They represent the cost of power more than its glory. What makes them fascinating isn't how high they rank, but how much they've had to lose to get here. They're the warning signs before the storm, the cracks before the collapse. Season 2 makes one thing clear, at Godolkin, there's no such thing as a minor supe. Everyone's one trauma away from becoming a monster. These ranks may look low, but they're the heartbeat of the story. The emotional core that reminds us power without pain is just privilege. As the season moves forward, these 5 start to change. They're not satisfied being underestimated anymore. They're learning, adapting, evolving, and soon, the higher ranks will realize something terrifying. The ones at the bottom are the hungriest, because in GENV, power isn't permanent. It's borrowed, it's tested, it's broken and rebuilt every day. And when the weak finally decide to fight back, even gods start to bleed. The air at Godolkin has changed. The fights aren't messy anymore, they're calculated. The laughter in the hallways has turned into silence, heavy enough to choke on. Everyone knows who the real players are now. The ones who don't need to scream their power. They let the world feel it. These are the supes who've moved past fear, past hesitation, and into something sharper, something colder. The ones sitting at rank 5 to 3 aren't just strong, they've mastered the art of control. And in a world built on chaos, control is the deadliest weapon of all. At rank 5, we have Jordan Lee, the shapeshifting powerhouse who defines what it means to be limitless. In Season 2, Jordan becomes a symbol of duality, not just because of their ability to switch between male and female forms, but because of how perfectly they balance rage and reason. Every transformation is more fluid, faster, and more instinctive than ever before. Their energy blasts can level a room, but it's their mind that makes them terrifying. Jordan doesn't just fight, they calculate. They've turned every limitation into an advantage, every prejudice into fuel. What once made them an outsider now makes them unstoppable. And as the world keeps trying to label them, Jordan proves the truth. Power has no gender, no rules, no fear. But standing one step above, at rank 4, is Marie Moreau, the blood manipulator who has gone from lost student to living weapon. Her power is evolving faster than anyone expected. What started as a curse, cutting herself to control blood, has become her greatest strength. In Season 2, Marie isn't just reacting to danger, she creates it. She can pull the blood straight from the air, the ground, even her enemies. Her precision is surgical now. She doesn't need rage to win, just focus. But with that control comes something darker, the question of how much of herself she's willing to lose to become powerful enough to survive. Marie's story is no longer about fear, it's about ownership. The moment she stopped apologizing for what she could do, she stopped being prey and became the storm itself. And then, rank 3, the name that makes even Vought nervous, Sam. Yes, the same Sam who once seemed broken, unstable, and unpredictable now stands on the edge of godhood. Season 2 doesn't just give him strength, it gives him purpose. His physical power was never in doubt, but now he's learning control, clarity, and even strategy. The wild dog has become a wolf, and that's what makes him terrifying. His trauma doesn't drive him anymore, it focuses him. He knows exactly who his enemies are. These 3 supes, Jordan, Marie, and Sam, represent the new era of power at Godolkin. They're not just products of experiments or victims of circumstance. They're the blueprint of what comes next. For the first time, the balance of power is shifting away from Vought's control. These students aren't trying to become the 7, they're trying to build something beyond it. Something real, something terrifyingly free. But with every step up the ladder, the weight grows heavier. The spotlight burns hotter. Everyone's watching, waiting for them to fail. And deep down, each of them knows, the higher they rise, the more dangerous it becomes. They're not fighting villains anymore, they're fighting destiny. The world doesn't want heroes, it wants entertainment. And Vought knows exactly how to turn tragedy into profit. What makes this middle tier of power so fascinating is that none of them are purely good or evil. They're all walking contradictions, strength wrapped in doubt, courage soaked in guilt. They save people and destroy themselves in the same breath. That's why they belong here, the power players. They don't need to prove they're strong, they already are. What they need to decide is what kind of monsters they're willing to become to stay that way. By the time the dust settles, one thing is clear: these supes are no longer students. They're soldiers, survivors, symbols. Their powers might be their weapons, but their pain is what shapes them. And as Godolkin descends deeper into war, these three stand at the center of it all, rewriting what power means in the world of Gen V. Because real power doesn't come from what you can do, it comes from what you choose not to do, and who you choose to become after the blood stops falling. The battlefield of Godolkin has thinned out, the weak have fallen, the reckless have vanished, and what remains are the ones who don't need to speak to be feared. Their power doesn't roar, it hums, deep and steady, like the calm before a storm that never ends. These are the Supremes, the apex predators of Gen V Season 2. Their names carry weight. Their presence bends rooms, and their choices decide who gets to live long enough to see another dawn. At this level, power isn't about destruction anymore, it's about domination. And for the top two supes, that domination is personal. At rank 2, stands Cate Dunlap, the telepath who once whispered doubt into minds now commands them like a conductor leading a symphony of chaos. In Season 1, her power terrified people because it was invasive. In Season 2, it terrifies because it's limitless. Cate doesn't just read thoughts anymore, she reshapes them. She can bend memories, rewrite loyalties, and even erase fear. Vought sees her as a perfect weapon. The world sees her as a myth, but Cate sees herself as something far more complicated. The final result of too much pain and too little choice. Every mind she enters leaves a mark, and every mark pushes her further from humanity. Her silence has become her scream. In one moment, she can make armies kneel, but behind that control is a girl still begging for peace. Someone who remembers the weight of every order she's ever given. She's not evil, she's exhausted, and that's what makes her frightening. The strongest villains are never the ones who want power. They're the ones who just want the noise to stop. Cate could rule the world if she wanted to. The terrifying part is, she doesn't. She's learning restraint. But restraint in someone like her is more dangerous than rage. Because one wrong moment, one broken emotion, and the entire planet could forget its own name. And then, there's rank 1 Marie Moreau, the Blood Witch of Godolkin, the one no one saw coming. And now no one can stop. Her power has grown beyond comprehension. What began as a desperate attempt to control her own body has evolved into something almost divine. Marie can now weaponize blood in every form, liquid, dried, even within the air. She's learned to sense the heartbeat of every living thing around her, turning her surroundings into an invisible map of weakness. If Cate controls minds, Marie controls life itself. She's not just bending biology, she's rewriting it. But what makes Marie #1 isn't just her power, it's her evolution. She's no longer fighting to survive, she's fighting to protect something bigger than herself. Her control over blood has become symbolic of her control over destiny. The very thing that once made her a victim now makes her untouchable. In Season 2, she stops being afraid of what she can do, and starts being afraid of what happens when she lets go. Every battle she enters feels personal. Every life she saves or ends is a reflection of the war she's fighting inside. She isn't flawless, but she's fearless. And that's what separates her from everyone else. The top two supes of Gen V Season 2 are opposites that complete each other. One commands the mind, the other commands the body. Cate manipulates what people believe. Marie manipulates what keeps them alive. Together, they represent the ultimate paradox of power, control and compassion. But power doesn't share well, and the tension between them isn't just rivalry, it's prophecy. Because when two forces like that exist in the same world, one truth becomes inevitable. Only one will remain at the top when the final reckoning comes. Season 2 makes that choice cruelly clear. Power, in this universe, always demands payment. And for both of these women, the cost is isolation. The stronger they become, the more distant they grow, from friends, from humanity, even from themselves. There's no applause at the summit, just silence, heavy and endless. Cate and Marie may wear the crowns, but their thrones are built on blood and regret. They've learned that strength isn't just about winning fights, it's about surviving the aftermath as the season closes. Every supe left standing looks up at them with awe and fear, because deep down, everyone knows, this isn't the end of their story. It's the beginning of something darker. Vought isn't done. The world isn't healed. And power, real power, never stays quiet for long. In the end, GENV Season 2 doesn't just rank its supes by what they can destroy. It ranks them by what they've endured. The blood, the guilt, the loss, it all leads here, to two women who redefined what it means to be powerful. They aren't gods, they're survivors. And in a world that worships destruction, survival is the ultimate rebellion. So when the lights fade and the blood dries, remember this: the strongest supe isn't the one who kills the most. It's the one who refuses to become what the world expects. Marie Moreau, the Queen of Blood; Cate Dunlap, the Empress of Minds, two sides of the same scar. And somewhere deep inside Godolkin's walls, something whispers, this war isn't over.